What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of Garbear Fitness. First things I want to get started today of the discussion topic, and we're going to be talking about working through injuries. And by that, I don't mean just like a simple bicep strain here, something small there, like straining your hamstring, but because I have tendonitis in my elbows here, but I'm going to get to that in a second. I think the last vlog I put it was probably about 2 weeks ago. That's before I went to Ultra Music Fest, so. Still a little under the weather about that, but I do have to say that is probably one of the best experiences in just trying something new that I've done in my entire life, because it's crazy because I used to be growing up, like when I was growing up, I'd always be against like partying and shit. I would think this would be like the biggest waste of time and money ever, and I decided to just give it a shot. And just the amount of, different people who are doing different things and doing the same things you are in life and just kind of just there just to listen to the music and shit, man, it's fucking awesome. And I know I mentioned in my last vlog that I was going to be probably having my Garbear Fitness shirts on. I did have my shirt on like here and there, but I was mostly shirtless majority of the time, so chances are I probably won't be in any after videos in a shirt if I am in any of them. Because I know at some of the stages when the camera was panning around that they used for the footage, I was in a lot of the scenes there, especially at the Afrojack stage. I don't know what the hell that stage was. I think that's not Arcadia. No. Anyway, hopefully I'll be in one of those videos. If I am, guys, let me know. But like I said, that was an awesome experience there. And other than that, I've just kind of been getting, adjusted back into, my training system and stuff like that. I've had some personal stuff going on, so it's been a little hard this week. It's been, I should say, very shitty training-wise, because I've only trained 2 days this week. But I feel like I'm finally getting back into things. Getting my mind right onto this stuff. And, I've been spending a lot of time reading my bodybuilding books and just kind of been a little away from social media. I was going to even try to make like an ultra after, like a little after video. I mean, I only have like 2 minutes worth of footage, there's nothing to really even to take time to even, chop up and actually come up with something. But the reason I didn't really film was because I wanted this experience to be my experience. I might put a little clip of something on my Instagram and, Snapchat or Facebook next week. But this is, I think that's one thing too, that a lot of people will spend so much time when they're out doing things, like on vacation and stuff. They'll put so much time into filming just to show people what they're doing that they don't even realize that they're living through the camera, and that's not what I wanted. I wanted this to be my experience. So I don't really have any footage for you guys to show for that. I'm sorry about that, but back to the topic of Garbear Fitness discussion today is working through injuries. So years ago when I began working out, because I'm heading towards my 7th year now in bodybuilding, years ago when I began working out, I kind of did not know what I was doing. I did and I didn't. Some days I would, okay, let me backtrack. I always train very light. I was very scared to train very heavy. On some machines, I would think that I was going very light, and I would just do a lot of repetitions, and that's just kind of how I trained. Like hundreds of reps back then to me was a thing, because just shred, that was life, just abs and shit. So anyway, years ago, I'd have to say within I think I got tendonitis in my arms within the first year of lifting, I think. Obviously, when you lift it, when your body's developing in the first year, couple of years of lifting, your joints and stuff are still growing as well. And your body's not going to be acclimated to using very heavy weights like you would be in your later years of working out. So when I was doing a pec deck fly one day, I think I had loaded up with 70 pounds on the cable system. I sat down on it and I started just, flying. And all of a sudden I felt like a jolt run through my elbow each side. And I didn't think much of it, and it ran two more times. So I felt the jolt. It felt like just lightning just running across my elbows 3 times. And I always remember that it was 3 times. Didn't think anything of it. My elbows were a little sore, so I kept doing the exercises and stuff. And after that, I went home or whatever. Elbows were still a little sore. I couldn't figure out why. Maybe just strained something there. I didn't even know what, really a tendon was in the first place. At that time, I was in track season as well. Excuse me, I'm dripping, by the way, guys. I just got out the shower. And that's the time I was in track season as well. So obviously I'm a sprinter. I was a sprinter. So, when you're running like this and your arms have to move back and forth because that's how you're pumping your body, the motion. I was doing a practice one day and I started, I got down on my start. I got up, launched off, and all of a sudden I just felt, oh my God, that was the worst pain. It literally felt like someone just put a needle in my arm and just shot like fucking electricity through my fucking elbows. It was the like probably one of the most excruciating pains I've ever felt. Like I stopped and I was like, holy fuck. And I started like, pushing my elbows here, and it felt like the tendon was just felt like it was just full of fluid. I'm like, what the fuck? Like I had no clue what the fuck happened. So I went to, I get, what was it, a Dick's Sporting Goods or something near my school, and I got, bands for my the compression bands for my elbows. And I started running with those, and those would help keep, I guess, the fluid, build up out of there. And if I didn't run with those, then my elbows would just, every time I run, like, I mean, even now, like, I still have it. It's nowhere near as bad as it was back then, but I still feel the motion of just something moving back and forth here, If I didn't run with those, then my arms would be fucked. Like, I wouldn't place in the race, first of all, because my arms would be like in excruciating pain. The fluid would be swelling back up into them. So I'd always have to run with those on. But at that time, I don't think I knew it was tendonitis until I actually had gone to the doctors. I went to Children's Hospital back in Philadelphia at the time, because some of you guys may not know I'm from Philadelphia, and I've moved to Orlando. I've been here for about a year now. So I went there, and I think at the time I got checked, I was like 17 or 18, because I started working out when I was about 16, 17. So I had it, I had lifted for about a year, something like that. And they came back with the results, and I was like, somehow I kind of just started researching and figured I had tendonitis, and I asked them, I was like, I have tendonitis, don't I? And they were like, yeah. They're like, you're way too young to even, have something like this. Like, what are you doing? And I was like, I just, was weight training. I just didn't know what I was doing. And they told me, like, stuff like this can be permanent. And, like, they were, like, scolding me, They were saying, that I was too young to have this. This isn't something you see in people, even at the advanced stages that it was in me, for people until they were, like, in their 40s or 50s. So I was like, fuck, man. I was like, damn, like, am I not going to be able to use my arms properly anymore? So anyway, at that point, I would obviously have to start speaking to people and researching kind of how to work through it, and not just that, but strengthen the tendons and ligaments in that region as well. Because certain movements still to this day will obviously feel a little odd, like skull crushers. After a while of doing them a couple weeks, I have to kind of back off of either the weight or the whole exercise entirely, just because of how it feels. Same with pushing movements too, sometimes with pulling, because the bicep and tricep, I mean, everything's like interconnected around your region here, because nothing really separates. Like, I mean, yeah, things separate, but everything in a push-pull movement would kind of agonize it, I guess the word would be. So over time, I mean, obviously over years they would keep getting stronger and stronger as your body develops, but topic of today's video is kind of just learning to work through different things. I mean, this for me was one of my biggest setbacks, especially this one, because this arm is worse than this one. My left was always worse than my right, so my left arm is, for me, a lot noticeably smaller than my right one. But it's just good to be aware of different things that go on in your body. I know a lot of athletes, especially coming up through high school and college, will have injuries, and they just feel like they got to keep going through stuff. Like, oh, my coach said to do this. Oh, my coach said to do that. Or, oh, I got to keep doing this to get stronger. It hurts, but, pain's weakness leaving the body. Yes, to some people that is true. But despite that, at the end of the day, you kind of got to realize when you need to take a step back and, either let your body recover, or try a different exercise, or work on actually strengthening what's injured and taking time to stretch it out, and get it stronger so you can go back and do what you're previously doing before actually just jumping in and doing stupid shit and making it worse. Because I mean, my tendonitis now is permanent. I'm totally fine with that. It's not really a big issue for me. It just sucks how my arms are differentiated in sizes. It bothers me about that, but I know when I first, kind of got diagnosed with it, the doctors told me that I needed to take a couple weeks off, at least a month off. And mentally, I was just like, that's when I started falling in love with working out. Like, mentally, I was just like, just messed up, like, it sounds stupid, but, we all have our things that we love doing. And at the time, that's what my beginning passion was. So I took a month off, and all I did was train abs at the time. So by the time I came back, into actually working out and stuff, my abs were in great shape, but the rest of my body was just scrawny kid. But just, like, when you guys have injuries, just kind of like take time to not just, figure out, oh, how can I work around it? Like, say, like I have tendonitis. Say I'm just trying to build my chest. How can I work on building my chest without bothering my elbows? No, you need to start working on and looking into how to strengthen, the elbow region, the tricep region back here, to carry the load of what you're doing for your chest, so that you can train your chest properly and make sure that you're doing it safely. And that's just very important, to just kind of like analyze what your body is doing. Like, if you feel like one day, you're training your biceps and something strains here, and the next day it hurts, don't overstretch it. Don't keep training it and thinking, like, let me pump some more blood into it, because theoretically, yes, that would be something that's true. Your body is pumping blood into it, but you're also over exercising something that's just not supposed to be exercised right now. Like, give it time to rest, and just kind of monitoring your body and on how to take care of injuries, and just spend time researching, spend time talking to people. Don't believe just everything you see from one source. Don't believe just everything you hear from one person. Take time to just to try different things, like go to the field, experiment, because the gym's like a lab. You got to experiment and see what works for you and what doesn't. But like I said, like at my point now, I know when to back off and when to train hard on my triceps, or just any pushing movement or pulling movement, because even when I pull back, I still feel it too. And it's just kind of knowing when to hit it hard and when to back off, and at the end of the day, that's going to tell your body on when it's going to grow and how it's going to grow, because no matter what, this arm is always going to grow slower than this one. But you kind of start learning on how to make it work, so that you're training it hard enough so that it is growing, but you're not doing it to the point where it can be destroyed. Because even on pushing movements like shoulders, when I go heavy, I still feel that jolt come running through my arm, and I can push through it now, because I think at this point my tricep tendons are strong enough to hold the weight. But it's still a reminder to me that any day, like, this shit could give out, and that's just something I want you guys to be very wary of, is things like this that can happen. I mean, even back in track season, I shouldn't just say track season. I had tendonitis everywhere to begin with. I had it in my wrists, I had it in my shoulders. It could have been bursitis, who knows, or just irritated rotator cuff. I know for a fact I had it in my knees. I bruised my foot bone, and this was just all from just poor management, poor stretching, poor weightlifting, knowledge and training, which everything healed up, thank God. But I have to say the worst one I had, other than here, was my shoulder and my wrist. Like, my wrists were so bad, and I thought literally exercising more was going to help them out, and it was so stupid. Because I would wake up in the morning and start, working with some dumbbells, because you always that skinny kid in college, like, oh yeah, let me get a pump before school. But thank God those healed up. I mean, this shoulder here only the rotation out. It won't rotate out as far as this one, which is something I'm still working on. It could have just been from swimming too. The butterfly puts a lot of stress on your shoulder as well. But these are things that I just kind of want to get you guys the information and knowledge of before you go out and actually injure yourself to a point, you can't do certain things anymore, because it sucks being, I'm 23 years old and I have tendonitis, or it sucks being, that 19-year-old football player who can't run anymore, I'm just trying to give you guys this information to just make sure you take the time to look stuff up, speak to different people, try different things, and don't go crazy, because it's not how much you lift, it's how you lift. Garbear Fitness checking out, guys. Stay shredded. Keynotes of the day. Figure out what you need to do to recover from them, so you can start training heavy and properly again. If you guys are looking for online coaching, dieting, routine regimens, garbearfitness.com is the website. You can shoot me an email at garbearfitness@gmail.com. Fitness apparel are online and available as well to people. Once again, guys, checking out.